Never fool yourself. People in the working world hold grudges and are petty. It's kind of my own fault. Doing a basic social media search would have saved me from this embarrassment and this headache. But I went into an interview at a company that I thought would be a good deal at the time. Pay was really good, benefits, and it was an actual corporate environment compared to the blue-collar stuff that I was doing up to that point. It was one of those places that had a policy of interviewing anybody a current employee referred. A friend who worked there said, "Hey, it could be a good deal for you. You should give it a shot." All right. My resume was passed along. They sent the time and the place for me to be there. I called into my current job with a quote-unquote emergency that morning, so I had some breathing room if the interview went long. As soon as I saw who was doing the interviewing, I knew I had wasted my time. It was a previous supervisor from about 15 years ago at that point, and she had the most malicious grin on her face. Like I said, I knew I had wasted my time. She'd even brought one of her friends along to enjoy the show. I figured, well, I'm here. Might as well put on the best show that I can. Now, with hindsight, I just would have nodded as soon as I recognized her, turned, and left. She brought me in a room, sat me down directly in front of the sun, so I had to squint and glare at her the entire time. She was nice enough to ask if that was okay, and I said, "Does it really matter?" I didn't quite say, "Let's get on with this," but it was pretty close. I answered questions. I mean, she went through a list, and she didn't take notes. She didn't look at the resume. She didn't do anything. She just stared at me the entire time. Same with her friend. And at the end of it all, she basically said, there's no openings. We're not going to hire you. It would be a contract basis, and, you wouldn't have any future at this company. And then it was like a performance review from 15 years ago at the previous job where she was my supervisor. She actually started quoting and bringing up lines that I had said there, which had not been directly to her. What kind of tabs were you guys keeping on me there? A little context about where we worked together before. It was a call center. And as far as I'm concerned, call centers are pretty much dead space on a resume. I did my best. I took it as seriously as I could. But it's kind of hard to take a company seriously when left, right, and center people are being fired or leaving or having panic attacks and breaking down. They are not good environments. Yeah, the first call center I worked for had about a 300% annual turnover. The second one I worked at with her, I think it was only about 175% turnover. So it was still notable. And it seemed one of the tactics there was to extend a person's probation as long as possible so that they could just get rid of you when they wanted to. Because I believe the company had something like a 6-month probation. Either way, it was 15 years ago. The reason I left that place was because I was nearing the end of my probation, was hit with a stomach bug, which put me out of commission for 3 days. And yes, every day they called me to see if I would be coming in later that day. And I was as honest as I could and not a little bit crude and said, "I'm throwing up my toenails. Well, what do you want from me?" Eventually I got back and my probation had been extended by 3 months. 1 month for each day that I was out of commission. They also started to talk about coaching. And my response again was, coaching? For what? How to have a better immune system? How to not get a stomach bug and be sick? Anyway, according to my vague memories, I believe I saw the writing on the wall there and just left. One morning I woke up, basically had an epiphany, realized they could fire me anytime they wanted. So why wouldn't I treat them in the same way? I called in, said I wasn't coming back in, and I think within a couple of days, I was working a blue-collar job, basically demolition cleanup or property restoration. I forget what it was called exactly, but it was grunt work and I made the same amount of money. Meanwhile, back at that pointless interview, I'm not sure what satisfaction she got out of that, but maybe it made her day brighter. Maybe she talked to her friends about it. Really got this guy back kind of thing. I was just flabbergasted that she would remember that stuff and bring it up again years later. We weren't friends. There was nothing personal. It was a job and it wasn't working out. If there's any moral to this story, other than it just being slightly entertaining, at least I hope it was slightly entertaining, Always do as much research as you can before going in for an interview. If you get the name of the person interviewing you, search them up online, because you know that the employer is doing the same to you. A lot of these experiences have definitely influenced my writing, especially with my latest book, where I crafted what I would consider the perfect employer. Larry's Cabin. Don't let the cover fool you. There's some cool people in there.